Imagine a country so rich in valuable minerals that its untapped underground wealth could rival the economies of entire continents. Yet nearly three-quarters of its people live on less than $2.15 a day. Beneath dense jungles and powerful rivers lies a paradox unlike anything you've heard before. A nation with vast deposits of cobalt, copper, gold, coltan, diamonds, lithium, and more, valued at an estimated $24 trillion, should be one of the richest countries on Earth. But instead, it's among the poorest, most conflict-ridden, and underdeveloped nations in the world. How can this be? Why does staggering wealth remain underground, while the people above struggle to survive? In this video, we're going deep into this mystery. We'll unravel the truth behind this resource paradox, the forces that keep wealth from reaching the masses, and why this country, rich beyond measure on paper, remains trapped in poverty. Let's start with the basics. This place is the Democratic Republic of the Congo, often referred to simply as the DRC. Located in Central Africa, it's the second-largest country on the continent by land area, covering approximately 2.34 million square kilometers. It's home to dense rainforests, second only to the Amazon, massive rivers, and stunning biodiversity. Despite this, most people outside Africa barely know its name, yet what lies beneath its soil has global significance. When experts say the DRC has $24 trillion in mineral wealth, they're talking about the estimated market value of untapped natural resources beneath its surface. These include cobalt. The DRC supplies around 70% of the world's cobalt, a key ingredient for lithium-ion batteries used in electric vehicles, laptops, and smartphones. Coltan, columbite, tantalite. This mineral is crucial for electronics like capacitors in smartphones and medical devices. Copper, used in electrical wiring and renewable energy infrastructure. Gold and diamonds, traditional precious metals. Lithium, tin, zinc, and more, all highly valuable in the global economy. On paper, $24 trillion would place the DRC ahead of major world economies. But that's where the story twists. Here's where it gets heartbreaking. Even with gigantic resource wealth below ground, about 74.6% of the population lives on less than $2.15 per day. The DRC ranks extremely low on the Human Development Index, HDI, so nearly three-quarters of the people are surviving on barely more than a few dollars a day, while their land is valued in the trillions. This stark contrast is known as the resource paradox or the resource curse situations where resource-rich nations fail to translate natural wealth into widespread human well-being. From the late 1800s until 1960, the DRC was under Belgian colonial rule, during which its mineral wealth was extracted with little benefit to local communities. Infrastructure was built to export resources, not to support local development. After independence, political instability, coups, and dictatorships continued the pattern of wealth leaving the country while social development lagged. Conflict is more than a political term here. It's a brutal, daily reality. Mineral-rich regions, especially in the East, have become battlegrounds for armed groups fighting over control of mines. The M23 rebel group, for example, earns hundreds of thousands of dollars monthly from mining taxes in territory it controls, often funding further violence. These conflicts aren't minor. They displace millions and make stable governance nearly impossible. Government institutions in the DRC have struggled with corruption and lack of transparency. Even foreign companies operating in the country have been accused of misreporting revenues, stripping funds that could benefit social services like schools and healthcare. Without strong rule of law and fair tax systems, the wealth generated by resource extraction rarely reaches citizens. Multinational mining corporations and foreign investors hold much of the mining licenses. While they extract minerals, profits often flow out of the country, contributing little to local infrastructure. Historical deals tied to foreign influence and investment have left local communities marginalized. This dynamic means foreign companies benefit far more than the Congolese people themselves. The real numbers go beyond economics, because so little wealth is reinvested locally. Many communities lack basic health care and education. Roads and electricity remain insufficient. Millions are internally displaced due to violence tied to resource control. 0. The lack of stability has led humanitarian crises that rival other global conflict zones. So, here's the million-dollar or trillion-dollar question. Why is the DRC still trapped in poverty when its underground treasure chest could transform not just the nation, but the entire region? The answer isn't simple. It involves history, politics, global economics, conflict, and human rights. And to solve it would require fundamental change at multiple levels. Let's explore some of the critical components that keep this paradox locked in place. The DRC primarily exports raw minerals rather than processing them domestically into high-value products. That means the most lucrative gains happen when other countries turn these materials into finished goods. Example: if copper is extracted and shipped overseas, the profit the DRC gets is just a fraction of the value that comes from turning that copper into wiring or electronics abroad. Global demand for strategic minerals like cobalt and lithium isn't slowing, especially as electric vehicles and clean energy expand. But that demand has intensified competition among foreign powers and corporations. This has made the DRC a focal point for international influence, exploitation, and political leverage, rather than a partner in its own development. Minerals like coltan and gold have earned the label conflict minerals because their trade often fuels violence on the ground. Rebel groups and corrupt networks use mining revenues to sustain warfare, creating a vicious feedback loop where extraction and misery go hand in hand. As long as these minerals are worth fighting over, stability remains elusive. Here's the critical realization. The narrative that the DRC could easily become a wealthy nation if only it sold its resources is incomplete and misleading. It's not that the DRC lacks wealth, it's that economic wealth and human prosperity are two different things. Until resource governance improves with transparency, fair taxation, reinvestment in infrastructure, and peace, the people won't see the benefits. The Democratic Republic of the Congo sits on astonishing natural wealth, valued at an estimated $24 trillion, including the world's most critical minerals for modern technology. Yet, despite this, the majority of its people live in dire poverty, a reality shaped by centuries of colonial exploitation, armed conflict, weak governance, corruption, and global economic inequality. This is the story of a resource paradox, where raw wealth in the ground doesn't automatically translate into prosperity for the people above it. But some experts argue that if governance reforms, transparency, education, and fair distribution of mining revenues were prioritized, this nation's trajectory could still change. The potential is there. It just needs a new path forward. And don't forget to hit subscribe for more unraveling mysteries like this.